welcome to Discussing Fitchburg Now. I am your host, Sam Squailia. We are talking about financial wellness for this week's show, and I have representatives from Workers Credit Union and the Financial Wellness Way. Is that correct?
The Workers' Way.
The Workers' Way. The Financial Wellness with the Workers' Way with Workers Credit Union. Thank you guys for coming
Thanks for having us.
I'll have you introduce yourself, starting with you, Chris.
Okay. So my name is Chris Del Valle. I'm an AVP Financial Wellness Coach with Workers Credit Union. We're mobile coaches, so we cover the Fitchburg, Leominster, Lunenburg, Townsend locations, and other surrounded branches as well.
I'm Glenn Davis, AVP Financial Wellness Coach as well. And been with the credit union about 3 years now, and we teach financial wellness to our members.
Excellent. And I'm Mohamed Rizwan. I'm the Director of Retail Growth here at Workers, and I've been with Workers over 7 years now and been in the finance industry over 17.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming on. So we're going to be talking about, when we talk about financial wellness, right? We're talking about, Workers Credit Union has seen a need for this in the general community.
Yes.
Right. For sure there is.
Yeah, so we've started it about 4.5 years ago as a pilot, the financial wellness, and it took off. So we started it in our Planet locations out in Worcester. That was my home branch, and we were there, a team of about 4 of us. And then, we were getting out into the community, just teaching the financial wellness and the education to anyone who needed it. So it's offered to members and non-members. However, we do like to see that relationship build and the membership grow. But at the end, it's just us helping the community.
Yeah. Okay. So we have some slides of the kind of a slideshow of the presentation that you said you do this presentation mobile, right? So you'll go on scene to different organizations or members to do these kind of presentations to make sure that everybody is aware of the basics.
Yeah.
And everything from the basics to the advanced knowledge of what you need to know in your finances, right? Yeah. So I guess. Can maybe start with a great overview of what your program, the Workers' Way is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like Chris highlighted, 4 years ago, we started this cultural shift within Workers Credit Union for our members. Our mission is to improve the daily lives of our members. And we did it really well before, but when we did a cultural shift on emphasizing on the one-to-one coaching, and taking that shame and stigma out of our members, and then putting them in that seat to be the driver to their goals and dreams. And us as coaches, we're just there to help guide and support them. So we went through that journey, and we continue providing that journey throughout. We've been doing it for 4 years and beyond, and we're continuing to do it for the next 100 years. But one of the unique ways we do it is we actually give back to the community. We do it in various ways, various organizations. We provide that as a benefit to our membership. And that's what stands us apart from the rest of the finance world out there.
Yeah. We, with the literacy program, it's not just a literacy. This is a really deep dive into a person's well-being, financially speaking. And oftentimes it comes across as a therapy session sometimes because, we need to know the background, right? We're not just going to provide our insight. We need details from the members to have a good understanding to know which path to go down.
Yeah, so I mean, this program is typically tailored to the individual, based on your financial situation, what your family situation, what you own, what you owe, these kinds of things. But what we're going to do today is kind of a rough general overview of, general financial wellness and explain kind of the process, right?
Yep,
correct.
Absolutely.
All right, great. So we want to start with your role. You kind of did that overview.
Yep.
So now, you are financial coaches.
Correct. We're certified financial coaches.
That's a certified.
Yeah, that's a certification that we've achieved. The Workers Credit Union put all of the coaches through this process, and we did earn that certification. It's a one-on-one approach. There's not a template that we follow because Sam isn't the same as Chris, and Chris isn't the same as Glenn. So this is the individualized approach, yeah.
Okay, great. Well, how about, can we go to the next slide, Isaiah? What do we got here? Okay, the basics.
Yeah.
Let's start with the basics.
Yeah, so it's a breakdown of what our financial plan is. So we go through 6 pillars when we're sitting one-on-one with our members to then set up a financial plan for them. Like Glenn said, it's different for every member, right? Because everyone has different needs, everyone has different goals, and everyone is at a different stage of life. So therefore, we're able to tailor it based off of what they have going on. And then we go through each pillar. So for example, the basic is the savings plan and the budget plan. So we'll sit with them, we'll help them create an emergency savings, and then we'll structure a budget for them. So we'll help them go through a budget, individualize it, look at their spending habits. Therefore, we're able to then change those bad habits into good habits so that they can be able to now save that emergency fund, which we come across a lot of people not having that emergency fund in place.
So now explain the importance of having an emergency fund, and kind of what number are we looking at for an emergency fund nowadays?
Yeah, so Glenn, if you want to take that.
So with an emergency fund, it's exactly what it's called. It's an emergency fund for situations that come up that aren't necessarily planned. So for instance, you've had a life change, and gosh forbid you may have lost a job or had a decrease in salary. So we'll provide our feedback and our specialty to help them learn what emergency savings looks like for situations like that. What's the number look like? Well, typically we like to see 4 to 6 months of all your expenses in an emergency fund. That's how an emergency fund is utilized.
And this emergency fund should be in some sort of cash, maybe an interest-bearing savings account that's readily accessible.
Correct. It's a liquid fund where it's not into the market whatsoever. It's 100% insured through our insurance as well as state insurance, so you don't have to worry about losing any of your balances. It's a liquid account. You can take it and you can add to it whenever you need to.
Right. Yep.
Yep. And then while you're saving up your 4 to 6 months of expenses emergency fund, really you got to figure out what those 4 to 6 months are through your budget plan.
Correct.
So explain kind of the process of how you tailor a budget for your members.
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways. The good thing with Workers is we have a tool that's already built into our online platform. So we're able to utilize that with the members by bringing in all of their accounts. So even if they have external accounts, if they have credit accounts, loans elsewhere, we're able to bring that all into one place and see it. And
there's like an app on your website?
Exactly, yeah. So we have an app that it's called Money Management, and what it does is it'll generate everything for you, and it'll automate a budget for you. And then that's when we're able to kind of go through it with them and see, what we have to change, what we can keep. We can add things, we can delete things. It's very user-friendly. And it's very up to date with the digital world versus, doing it through Excel, which we do still utilize that as well. If some members rather do it that way, we do have access to
you allow Excel
Pro.
Because the Excel is totally my speed.
Yeah. So there you go. So we have that as well. So either way, we're able to kind of bring in that budget plan for them and get that one budget number that they're looking for on a monthly basis.
Right, because a lot of people, you get the weekly paycheck, and you don't really know where your money's going because you're not planning every dollar. Right. So if you come to the end of the month and you're having trouble with that savings, then really you gotta take a look at all your income and all your expenses, and then determine where your priorities are. Right, you have your income coming in, your expenses going out, and then you want to be working towards that savings for that 4 to 6 month emergency fund as the basics. The number one pillar, number 1 and number 2.
Right, exactly.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So I mean, how I treat, and all the coaches have a different approach, but how I teach the savings aspect of it, look at it as if it's an expense. Every month you have to pay your phone bill, you have to pay your electricity bill, because if you don't, what happens? It gets shut off, right? Essentially. Well, I like to treat savings as a bill. My savings is my bill, and that's where my money is going. I'm not going to touch it. Because if I do touch it, I'm not going to have it for an emergency fund. That's how I look at a savings.
They say pay yourself first.
Pay yourself
Right,
first.
exactly. And that's exactly what we teach. So when we go into our seminars, that's actually one of our topics is pay yourself first. And we ask that question to many people. And some know, some don't. But then once we start talking about it, they're like, oh yeah, I know that, but I don't do it. You know, so we tell them even as little as $5, every paycheck is still paying yourself first. So that is going to grow over time.
Yeah, and really what you're also doing right from the beginning is you're saving as much as possible to kind of get yourself in that mindset.
Yeah.
Also, that savings mindset, you start somewhere and then you grow that snowball even
Exactly.
larger.
Yeah, it's definitely a behavioral, right? It's a learned habit. It's what we've learned throughout adolescence and into adulthood, right? And if you're not necessarily educated in that, the behavior becomes increasingly more difficult to break. So that's part of like what I said, Sam, like a therapy session sometimes, because it is a behavioral thing. It's a learned habit. So we want to try to accentuate the good and kind of push the bad in the background, right?
It's a therapy session in that when you get really down to the details of what your expenses are
Right.
and what your priorities are for the future, you start to go, okay, we need to start looking at some of these things that you're spending your money on and think about where our priorities really are.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. For example, I had a member that was at first a little reluctant to kind of give me the information or share information. And I said, you know, hey, this is a judgment-free zone. You know, we're here to help you, to advise you. And then at first she said, oh, well, it's okay. I know what I'm spending. You know, I don't need you to do my budget. I said, just trust me on this. You know, let me look at it. Let me take a look at what your spending habits are and let's see what's going on, because you're telling me that you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're not able to save. So let's see what's happening. After I went through the budget and put everything in, she was overspending on fast food. And, you know, it was a number that she didn't think it was that big. She said, yeah, we do eat out a lot, but I don't think it's that much. When it came back to that number at around $500, she was shocked. And from there, it was, you know, our relationship built, you know, faster. She was able to trust. She was able to now have a different mindset and make some changes, especially in that category.
Maybe you change, you know, you cut back just half or 25%, and then now you're saving $150 a month.
Right.
And then then you start to realize, oh, I can, you know what, if I cut back 50%, 75%, now I can save $300, $400 a month, and now you're really growing that savings fund a lot faster.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then we get into, when it comes to the budget as well, you're including your expenses and your debt, right? So let's talk about the debt management pillar.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the next one we'll go into is the credit and debt repayment plan. So there's different strategies that we all use. When it comes to credit, it could be as starting out, maintaining, or rebuilding credit. So there's different categories in that sense that we then dive in based off of where they are. A lot of people that we come across just are new to credit. They don't know how to monitor it. They don't know what a credit score looks like, what the difference between Credit Karma and a FICO score that's reported from their credit card statement is, what's most important. So those are things that we dissect and we go in the credit report with them, and we go through each section and we kind of teach them and we show them, hey, this is what you need to look at your credit report to maintain that healthy credit score.
Yeah.
And what the credit rating system really is utilized by loan industry, banking industry to determine whether or not someone is reliable,
Creditworthy.
to be repaying the money that they are borrowing.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, with most times that we see with our members is they know what their score is, or they think they know what the score is, and then what we'll do is we'll provide the education to let them know how that score came about, which is really the most important, because there's a pie chart that we follow, and then we'll provide that chart to our members, and we'll show them what each breakdown means, and they'll get a better understanding of, oh, now I understand why my score dropped 20 points this month, and next month it'll be up 20 more points. So we'll go into and we'll dissect their credit report and let them know what each percentage means.
Because there's a lot of nuance when it comes to credit rating, right?
So many things to follow on credit ratings, yes.
I remember when I first was buying a car, and I had to take out a loan, and I went, my dad co-signed with me, and they ran our credit, and my credit was like a little bit better than his.
Yep.
I've held that over him for my whole life so far.
You hear that, Dad?
So, but what but a credit score is something that's very important if you are buying a car. Sure. And taking out a loan, doing the monthly payment system.
Sure, it's very important.
If you're taking out a mortgage on a house, getting a credit card.
So I've had members come to me and say, I don't want credit. My entire life, my parents preached to me, never get a credit card, always pay cash. That has value, for sure it has value, absolutely. But at the end of the day, when we have a member that says, I'm going on vacation in a couple months, and I say, well, how are you going to rent a room? You need a credit card. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, how are you going to rent a car? You need a credit card. Oh, I didn't know that. So it's things like that that members aren't necessarily aware of that we provide, that just small insights to help them along that journey, sure.
I mean, in our society today, it really is pushing us all towards that system.
Right.
So it's hard to escape it. Yeah. I would say it's not impossible, but it's complicated.
Yes.
So it's definitely needed, and that's what we say. Like, to Glenn's point, we do come across a lot of people that are just, through generations, they're just taught that, stay away from that because you're going to get yourself in debt and you're not going to be able to repay it. However, a lot of those people we see are not homeowners. They don't own anything because they don't have that credit. And that's when we preach to them and say, hey, you're telling us your goal is to purchase a house. However, if you don't have credit, you're not going to be able to do that unless you have $300,000 cash somewhere, but they'll still ask you about it, So it's those things that, we just educate on that one-on-one basis to make them feel comfortable and start them all off small so they're not overspending or overusing credit as well. So.
And so if someone comes in and they've never had a credit card, they have a 0 credit score or an NA, I don't know what happens if you don't have any credit score, a non-existent credit score.
Yeah.
Where would you generally say you start?
There's a few avenues that we can go down. Typically, what I like to do is obviously educate them what it means. And there's a few resources. I mean, you can do it as simple as a savings secured credit card. And what that is, essentially, you put $300 in a savings secured account, and we'll provide you with a credit card with a limit up to $300. So that's how you will build, one way to build credit. Another way is a savings secured installment loan, similar to you take out a personal loan, Sam, right? You don't have credit, so what do? Well, we say, can you provide us with a $500 savings secured account, and then we'll provide a savings secured loan in return, and then the installment payments start to come out across every month. So that's another way that you certainly can build your credit that way.
Right. Yeah. So multiple ways. Another way too is just being an authorized user on somebody's account.
Like co-signing a loan.
Yeah, right. In a way. Simple. Yeah, very similar.
Or your parents have a credit card.
Yeah,
they add
put
you as a user.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So that a lot of people aren't aware of either. That your parents can do that, or a guardian, or someone, an adult that that you trust, and they trust you because you'll have access to that credit as well because you're an authorized user. However, for example, I had a member who was in college, and prior to that, he had no credit at all. But his parents put him on as an authorized user since he was a teenager, and therefore, when he applied for his own auto loan, he had a score. And he was able to now, get a loan on him, by himself. And he told me he thanked his parents for that. Because without that, he would have had to start from 0, and it would have been harder.
He would have had to say, Mom, Dad,
yeah, give me $500 bucks. Yeah, exactly.
Been there.
Yeah. So those things, and it starts just with the education, like Glenn said. We kind of teach them what they don't know or what they know a little bit about, but they're just not that 100% confident we bring out that confidence in them.
And for maybe those customers that come in that have missed some payments or defaulted on loans, maybe they have a credit score of, I don't know, what's the lowest? 600?
No.
400?
No, like 3.
380, 360.
Yeah.
Okay, so that sounds like a low score. And with a low score like that, you tend to either be rejected from loans or you get high interest rates when you go to apply for a loan as opposed to a lower payment.
Right. So,
So a higher interest rate on your loan means that you're paying higher every month. So your goal is to raise your credit rating. If, let's say, you have come in with a 400, so some strategy you would help teach some strategies to raise that credit score.
Yeah. We'll sit down with them and walk them through every line item on their credit report to let them know where it's hurting, where it's good, and we'll review if any accounts may be in collections or late payments and what that means. We're not just going to point it out because that's not what we do. We educate, and when we do show them, we tell them, here's what this means. Here's what happens when you miss a payment, or here's what happens when it's in collections. But let's strategize to get you back to where you need to be. We'll sit down with them, make them accountable, right? Because that's the whole idea of this, the behavior aspect of it is help them be accountable for their actions. And by showing them the credit report and walking through the line items, it certainly is beneficial to them.
Yep. And then so we're going on there kind of into the debt repayment strategy, right?
Exactly, yeah. So with the debt repayment, that's when we usually find those things out when we look at their credit report. We use a lot of self-monitoring websites that gives us a whole breakdown of what's on their report.
That's the government-provided credit score website?
Yeah, that one we utilize, the annualcreditreport.com, but then we also use the other credit bureaus as well. That everyone has access to.
Because you get one free credit report a year from the 3 major ones? Is that how it works?
It just doesn't give you a score. So the scores usually is a paid service through each credit bureau. But with Experian, for example, we utilize their website a lot because they give you your free FICO score. You don't have to pay for that one.
And the FICO score, that is the credit score that we're talking about.
That's the closest to what the banks will require, yes. Credit Karma is good, but I'm finding Credit Karma is a way to monitor, right?
Yep.
But
this is a paid service, Credit Karma?
No, Credit Karma is free as well. Yep, and it's a monitoring service, but it doesn't really provide in-depth detail, which is really what we're trying to do for our members is detail.
Yeah, so we'll go through that, and then we're able to now see what's on their report. A lot of times, people don't know that they have an account that was in collections, right? Because with collections, it's tricky. It could pop up in 30 days. It can pop up 5 years from now. So people don't know. And then when they go look at their score, it's low for some reason, and they're like, why? I've made my payments all on time. But then we look and we see, oh, there's a collections for $50. So even a collection as low as $50 is going to make your score tank. It could be $50, it could be $5,000. It's still going to bring your score down. So I always tell my members that's the most important debt that you have to take care of is a collections that's on your report.
And then strategies to resolve the collections debt is a whole other subject.
Exactly. It's not as simple as saying, here, just pay it. Because if that was the case and they were aware of it, they would have, we would hope. So yeah, we'll come up with the strategies to make sure, because what we don't want to do is, we don't want them at the end of the month to look at their paycheck and go, there's nothing left. That's the last thing we want.
Right. And then there's also when before collections, maybe some people come in and they have 3 or 4 credit cards.
Consolidation.
They have multiple debts and they're differing interest rates. They have a car loan. They've got multiple credit cards. Maybe some, I don't know, maybe some other loan. And so you kind of help to strategize that within a budget. Which ones to tackle first?
Exactly, yeah, and that's when we're able to offer, debt consolidation loans, just to bring it all into one payment a month. Most of the time that does help free up more money so they have for their spending or for their expenses, because it just brings you now just one lump sum payment versus multiple, and one date versus different days throughout the month that usually throws people off because of their pay cycle. So we'll strategize that way. Based off of what we feel is, is going to help them at that moment. And then again, we'll even get on the phone and call for payment plans, for collection agencies. We come across people who are just afraid to make the call. And that's when we're like, don't worry about it. You know, you sitting with us, we'll call, you give permission for us to, you know, speak on your behalf, and we'll come up with the game plan for you.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing I think it's important to note is when we talk about debt, it's a negative notion to it because that word itself, but there's healthy debt as well, right? So when we're looking at the credit report, credit history, us as coaches, having a home and having that note on your credit report as a healthy debt, similar to an auto loan, it's a healthy debt as long as you pay it on time, right? So
because you need a car, you need
right.
a home.
Absolutely.
You arguably need a car.
Absolutely. And then, you know, when Glenn talked about the ratios, when we're looking at 35% of your ratio on that pie is payment history on your credit
Payment
scores.
history, on your credit score.
Right. So 35% of it is made
So
up of.
that's important that you pay your bills on time.
Big chunk, big chunk.
Yeah.
I know we talked about cash. I always like to say, I know cash is king, but credit is power. So that's what I say.
Yes.
It is.
For sure it is.
Great. Okay, so the long-range planning, I guess, would be the next pillar.
Yeah, so those are the last two pillars is the risk management and then the retirement planning. So what that means is we also have multiple partners that are part of Workers Credit Union. So we have an insurance group and we have an investment group. And therefore, they're able to assist our members to look at that long range planning, whether it's to start for retirement, savings, insurance, whether it's life insurance, auto, home insurance. Those are services that we also provide. So we'll get the basics when we sit with them. You know, we'll collect a auto declaration page, a home owner's insurance page, a renter's insurance page, and then we'll kind of go through that and we'll pass them over to our licensed agent to then connect with them and see if they can save money there.
Yeah.
Really? So you help look at, you know, the insurances that you have and the prices that you're paying and see what I guess your limits are for your insurance, or you know, maybe if you are a renter and you don't have renter's insurance, then you're like,
Maybe
hey.
you need it. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, a good example, Sam, is like when you get your annual renewal for your car insurance. Oftentimes, you get 17 pages of all the stuff that you're covered, right? The reality is people don't really look at it. They've been with the same agent for 20 years and they just sign the paper and their insurance is covered, they're done for the year. Well, that's probably not the best idea, because the reality is the insurance agent is providing with the coverage, but there's other insurance agencies that cover you for the same amount of coverage, saving you money. So we'll get those declaration pages and I wouldn't say shop it, but we send it to our partners and then they provide a quote to our members. And oftentimes we save them a considerable amount of money because year after year they just sign the document, not even looking. Right. So that's important to know as far as the insurance is concerned.
And life situations might change, where you know your house value goes up, but you haven't looked at your insurance rates in 10 years, and you're like, well, I need to raise these the coverage rates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things that we do well with is we look at the whole financial picture, right? So we're not only focused in on you as a number, we treat you as a member, we treat you as an individual, and then we kind of go through that full financial picture. We look at your short-term, long-term goals, and we align any savings budget plan that goes along with it. So in part of a budget plan, of course, we're going to include the insurance payment per month, but part of our responsibilities is to give you the best coverage, right? And look for that best opportunity to make sure you're fully protected. So you're not paying a lesser amount, but you're not fully protected on the opposite end if for any situation that may occur.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we come across that a lot, and our members just appreciate it, that we're able to do that for them, help them with that that first step, because a lot of people are so busy in life, you know, working, kids, family, extra activities. They're not going to stop and make a call to the insurance agency and say, hey, can you give me a quote? Can you check if I'm, you know, insured? They're not going to do that. It's just the reality. So that's what we take on and we do for them and get back to them and let them know, go on with your life. We'll do this for you and we'll let you know if we can save you money. And yeah, that's the best part of it, is just having multiple partners within our organization that's able to, you know, assist in the Workers' Way.
All right, let's, we'll take a short break. We'll play a couple PSAs, and then we'll be back with more details about the financial wellness from the Workers' Way from Workers Credit Union.
See Click Fix, Fitchburg's one-stop shop for helping resolve issues in our community. You can report anything from a missed trash pickup to potholes on city roads, illegal dumping to broken traffic lights. To report an issue, all you need to do is click New Request. Type in the location, select a category, and send in a photo if you have one. Your request goes straight to city officials so they can help resolve the issue. Making an account is free and easy. All you need is an email. Download the See Click Fix app today to get your matters resolved.
I am George Berejanian, director of the Wachusett Chess Club at Fitchburg State University. Welcome to another edition of Chess Chat.
A special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head says, get out and play. 'Cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. Never feel this way. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day. My lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot on to be told. It's my lucky day. It's my lucky day.
Welcome back to Discussing Fitchburg Now. I am here with worker representatives from Workers Credit Unions, the Workers' Way. We are talking about financial wellness. So we were talking about the kind of the fifth and sixth pillars of the Workers' Way, talking about long-range planning, because you know, we have our income, we have our weekly paycheck, but you know, we can't think of our lives in a week-by-week basis. We have to plan and strategize for not only our week, our month, our year, but you know, our future, right? And our children's future, our family's future.
Yeah.
So we were talking about risk management.
Yeah. Yeah, so you know, it's definitely important to make sure you're covered in all avenues when it comes to insurance. A big one is the renter's insurance. You know, everyone who has an apartment, you should have that, because if anything happens, God forbid, if there's a fire, a flood, you know, we had the flash floods that happen, things like that. If you don't have that insurance, your property, your valuables, your memories are just going to be gone. And you're not going to be covered. So that's why renter's insurance is so important. And think about it just like your car insurance. You just need it.
And renter's insurance is not very expensive.
No, not at all.
Either. What are some typical, what's some typical costs for renter's insurance that you see?
Yeah, I mean, I think because we have our business partners in the insurance group, they don't disclose, obviously, with us. It comes within their package. So I think overall premiums, obviously, when we're looking at the full coverage, rental insurance is included into that. So it varies based on the members' obviously needs and where they're living and the cost of their rent.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're looking at a few $100s a year.
Yeah,
right?
very
It's not
affordable,
extravagant.
yeah.
It's nowhere near where your car insurance is.
Correct.
But it's one of those, like insurance is, nobody likes to have it, but when you need it, you're thankful, right? So same thing with renter's insurance. You know, you have a break-in, you have floods, like what, gosh forbid, floods happened again, and unexpecteds come up, and that's why insurance is there for you.
Yeah, you're renting a unit. You know, you have all of your belongings. You have, you know, all of your children's belongings, all your family's belongings, and God forbid there is a fire, and you lose everything. And now, you know, not only do you not have your things, but you need to get into a hotel. You need to rent a new apartment. You know, a number of reasons that you could use this rental insurance, which covers, you know, fire. You can add on for flood if there was some sort of, you know, if the sprinklers destroyed all your belongings, you couldn't get in. It covers, you know, hotel stay for,
Theft.
you know, emergency, theft. Right? There's a number of things that renter's insurance can cover, and so, you know, that is a risk management strategy to ensure that you're working, you're saving, you're budgeting, you're doing everything right, and you don't want to let some tragic situation that's not in your control, you know, derail all of your efforts.
Yeah,
Exactly.
very good point.
Yeah, one of the terms we use is protecting your blind side. So
Protecting your blind side. That's a good way to
That's the
put it.
terminology we use. It's something we learned through the coaching piece, the certification that we all went through. So it is one of those terminologies. It is that, right? It's the plan for the unexpected. And that's how we put it into, similar to, you know, God forbid if there's a fire, you can't expect that to happen at any point, but it can happen, right? It happens out there. So those are unfortunate situations people go through, but to be able to protect your assets, protect your, obviously, belongings and your memories that you know, built. So it's good to have.
What are some other risk management strategies that maybe we didn't cover?
Well,
I mean, I think insurance is the main
insurance,
one, right?
yeah, obviously there's
it's
many
insurance
aspects
in
of insurance: auto insurance, homeowners insurance, renters insurance, health insurance,
Life
you know,
insurance.
life insurance.
Pet
Life
insurance too. We
insurance?
actually do pet insurance.
Yeah,
I mean, I know multiple people who
I got it.
They
I
have
have 4 dogs.
Yeah, they have their pet, and the dog eats something it shouldn't have eaten, and now it needs emergency surgery, and you're $4,000 in debt, and you didn't have red insurance, and
That's another one.
what does pet insurance look like? Because I haven't gotten
There's
that.
multiple,
that one,
multiple
that's
layers
tough,
of pet insurance, and it's just like, it's like on your annual renewal at work, when they say you got 4 different plans to choose from, multiply that times 8 with animals, because there's multiple levels of vet. Do you see a vet? Do you see a vet tech? You know, you can multiple plans as far as paying ahead, paying monthly. I pay about $1,200 a year for pet insurance.
For your 4 dogs.
Yeah, for 4 dogs. Yeah, and that's a minimal service coverage because I try to keep them healthy as best I can. It's the unexpected. It's going on a hike and they
twist their leg.
get a cut on their paw that won't stop bleeding. You got to take them to the vet.
Yeah,
It's
or
expensive.
dogs can rip their
Dislocated knee. ACLs.
Yeah, dogs can rip their ACL.
Yeah.
Then they need doggy ACL surgery. And, you know, you're looking at $5,000.
Exactly.
You know, and that's an expense that maybe you were not expecting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you have pets, that's another. That's a
thing,
risk management.
And that's why it's
you know.
you're trying to manage the risk.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
So that you don't derail all your hard work and efforts.
Yeah.
And these insurance rates and everything can be built into your budget.
Right.
Back in the
Absolutely.
beginning, back in the basics.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, we can build that into your budget to make sure that, you know, your priorities are set and your risk is managed.
Yep.
Exactly, yeah.
right.
And then another risk management too is trust and wills. So we also have another partner that, you know, will help our members with that. You know,
That goes into the life insurance portion.
Exactly, yeah, and just the legacy planning, right? So what is a legacy? You know, what you're leaving behind to your family. A lot of people don't have a will in place. A lot of people don't have a trust. So
I'll do it. I'll do it soon.
Exactly.
Next
Exactly.
year.
Yeah.
Next month.
Yeah, so we have partners that will walk them through that process and help them as well and give them that support and that legal advice.
And life insurance is so important for, you know, burial situations, right? There's so many times I've seen tragic, you know, losses, unexpected death, and then, you know, a cost for a funeral, a cost for a burial, it can be very expensive.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're not insured for that, then it could be, you know, it could wipe you out.
Yeah.
And it could fall on your family to provide for that. And quite honestly, we see it very frequently within our coaching world is when someone passes, and when that person has passed, God forbid they didn't prepare well. So the people that have no time to grieve, right? Because they're trying to get all these, everything's coming at them from several different angles for finances, and so this is another way that's one less burden on the family, and they can actually focus on the grieving aspect of it.
Right.
Exactly, and those are those tough conversations that we do have with them. Most people don't like to talk about it, but we say, hey, this is part of life, you know, and you just have to get prepared, and we're gonna help you get prepared. And that's when we'll bring in, you know, our reps that are fully licensed to sell the life insurance, and they'll go through what's the best for them and what's the most affordable.
Right. Yeah, and then our services through Trust and Wills is a third-party company we work with, but it's an online program. It kind of takes you through as if you were doing like TurboTax or anything like that. So it takes you by a step-by-step process at a fraction cost of what you may obviously spend outside of that. But so we do work that in within a budget. So when we're looking at, when we talked about a full financial picture, these are the 6 pillars that we focus in on. We've tried to hit each and every one of them. And this doesn't just happen in one session. So we build this throughout a journey.
This isn't a half-an-hour meeting.
Oh, no.
No. So we build, you know, we build the report, we build the connection with the members, as Chris highlighted earlier. It's just an ongoing journey that we take with them. So we want to be their financial doctors, and will hopefully come back to us every week, every month, right, biannually meetings.
Until they can teach the class themselves.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Financial freedom, right? And
Yeah.
and it's
Financial freedom.
Financial freedom.
Yes.
That's what we're all seeking, right? No one wants to have debt. No one wants to not have a savings, and they just may not have the tools or the, you know, education to understand how to do it. No one. That's the reality of it. And you know, these pillars that we have on here on the TV, they don't necessarily go in that order, because someone already may have a savings and a budget all dialed in, and they need to work on their credit. So we'll go right to number 2, right? It doesn't necessarily mean 1, 2, and 3. It could be, they could be in the risk management and retirement side of their financial journey, and then we'll target into that aspect of it. But
Now let's talk about the importance of planning for your retirement, because just like planning a will, you're always like, oh, next week, oh, next month.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to retirement, people go, oh, that's so far in the future.
Yeah.
But the importance of planning for your retirement today means that every dollar you save, you're compounding that growth over 30 years, 40 years versus, you know, if you start saving when you're 18, you know, every dollar that you get just grows and grows and grows for so much longer, as opposed to if you start when you're 45, 50, now you've got a much smaller window for your money to grow for you.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like with retirement, you know, you're never too young to start, you know. The sooner the better is what we always like to tell our younger members as well. And like you said, an 18-year-old can start with a IRA, individual retirement account, and start putting money away themselves. And then when they get into the workforce, you know, there's employers that offer 401k plans. You usually have to be 21.
For a 401k?
For 401k for some companies, but it depends. But that's things that we would also dive into with them and educate them. What is a 401k? We'll help them set up, you know, their accounts through the company that is servicing their 401k. So we'll go online with them and create a username and password so that they can have access to it and look at their statements and kind of see what's going on. We break down what the percentage is that you should be contributing, what a match is from your employer. A lot of people don't know that their employer offers a match.
And that's free money.
Free money,
100%.
Exactly.
You're leaving it on the table. So
Yeah, you don't want to leave free money and
right.
from your employer on the table.
Right, absolutely. I mean, and we also have a retirement investment team that works within workers as well, that we bring in those experts. They have the knowledge, the insights, and they can help, you know, assist with the coaches. So we do this as a benefit to our membership. It doesn't cost them anything additional to say, hey, go see our retirement investment rep. We bring them in as part of a partnership meeting to be able to consult some individual. Everybody will say, I have a guy type of thing, right? So, but it never hurts to get a second opinion, because that guy could be not doing the right thing for you, right? So it's a benefit to our membership, and it's at no cost. And if it makes sense for them to kind of start working with us or start working with our representatives, and then they do it.
Yeah. A good example is I had a guy. Me personally, like I had a guy.
You had a guy.
Well, when's the last time the guy talked with you? Was I met someone from Workers? Well, when's the last time you saw your investment rep? I'm like, I don't know. He goes, but you got a guy. I'm like, yeah, that's a very good point. Well, our guy will see you in person. Our guy will give you those resources, that education. He'll meet with you one-on-one in person. So that's the guy, not some guy that's working in Connecticut someplace managing a massive fund. That's the beauty of that.
Yeah, and when you're talking about a retirement plan, there are so many different vehicles, ways that you can do it. A simple savings account, is not exactly the best retirement plan, right? So depending on the different stages of your life, like for example, if you're an 18-year-old and you're working at Market Basket, you can start an IRA with $5 a week.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yep,
And
exactly. Yeah. So it's all different. Like you said, and then investments obviously is a part of a retirement plan as well. There's different investments that are out there that people can now do themselves. There's a lot of self investment apps out there. That
like
people
Fidelity or Charles Schwab.
Yeah,
or
all those companies.
John
yeah,
Hancock.
Exactly. Yeah, and we have them ask us about that, and that's when we therefore connect them with our licensed partner to then go and talk to them about that investment side to make sure that they're getting the best advice, or that they're not making any mistakes by utilizing the apps themselves and thinking they're investing the right way, but not really knowing that they may just be hurting themselves in the long run. So that's why we have them and encourage them to sit with our investment reps for that.
Because it can be overwhelming when you start investing and you don't have someone helping you out. You're like, all right, I don't know. How does this thing work? What is this? What does the IRA mean? What does, I don't understand what this for. I give up.
Yeah.
And then it just sits there doing
having
nothing.
the financial coaching, to walk you through it and really one-on-one is really invaluable, especially when you're young.
That's the key.
The
It
most
really is.
important thing is to start that retirement plan when you're young, because let me tell you, 20 years, 30 years goes by like that, right?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you're my age.
Stop it.
I like that,
Well, as part of important thing that you bring up is we try to help make sure that when we're in the communities, we're helping, we're assisting, we're teaching the financial wellness, the financial literacy aspect of things, and we want to touch individuals at that age because it is very sensitive, it is very beneficial. We go through all those 6 financial pillars, but they are starting and they are hungry. So we've seen this through the years we've been doing this now. It's those folks actually want to get rich fast, right? So that's the word out there. It's how do I get rich fast? And
I want to
they
be a
talk
movie
about
star and a
investments.
YouTube star, and I'm going to be rich. And like,
Right, but it's like step back, kind of look at it from a reality perspective, right?
from
But
reality
just-
perspective.
Right, so it's just, align your goals to reality in that perspective. So we teach them the credit aspect, right? How do you build a credit? How do you build a savings, right? How do you open up a bank account? A lot of these folks in, schools, they don't teach financial literacy across all states at this moment. It's not a, mandatory subject to kind of go through, but we do it as a benefit to our membership, our communities, and this is how we give back from workers and what we do as individuals and as coaches.
Yeah.
Well, that's the perfect segue from retirement to how do, we get involved in this? How do we get, how do we go to workers and say, I would like a financial coach. I want to go through the workers' way. I want you to help me. What's kind of the best way for our people watching to go, okay, I'm ready?
So we have, you can go out to our website, wcu.com, and we have a link there to schedule an appointment with a coach. And you can
there's a link that says schedule an appointment with a financial wellness coach?
Correct. And you can make an appointment. We have 16 branches, so we have 16 locations. So we have what we call our coaches, Workers Way on Wheels. So we go to you where it's convenient. So once you make appointments, you could be sitting in another city or town. We will go out to you and make that one-on-one connection and that first appointment. So we try to make that convenient as much as possible. So we're trying to do things different. So if you don't have the capabilities, accessibilities to be able to meet us at a location, we're able to kind of meet you at your spot. And we actually do virtual appointments as well, so you don't have to get out of your comfort of your home, right? And we do it outside too, outside your normal hours, work hours of 9 to 5. These folks right here along to my left have done various hours, mornings, nights, evenings.
It's not a 9 to 5 world. That's the reality of it. Yeah, you work 9 to 5. Well, so do I. Well, when are you supposed to come and see me? So yeah, like to Riz's point, work his way in wheels.
Yeah, and you know, for example, you know, I had back-to-back virtual appointments because, again, we did a seminar at a apartment complex that was a little ways from our nearest location, and a lot of the families didn't have, you know, transportation. So I said, don't worry about it, you know, as long as you have access to either a phone or a tablet or a computer, we can do virtual. You know, through Zoom, through Microsoft, through any of those apps. And they were just so, you know, thankful for that and able to connect with them at the time that worked for them. A lot of them are, you know, parents with small children. So, you know, it's those odd times of the day that they're available, so we make ourselves available for that. And then, therefore, we could also go out to them. We can bring, you know, the accounts to them. You know, we can open it on site for them if needed. So those are the things that, you know, makes us different from others.
You could start a savings account with the mobile unit.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Really?
Right on a laptop.
Yeah. Yep.
Boom, boom.
Right away. Yeah,
Technology.
Right here. We can do it right now if you want.
Step right up, Jim.
So,
we are heavily entrenched in the community. We do talk about our members and membership, but we also go to a lot of events to support the community. You know, that's kind of how you and I met. We met through the ARC auction.
We were at the Arc of Opportunity auction.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, just.
And I said, "What do you do?" Oh, that's fantastic.
Exactly.
Oh,
and you said, let's talk about the show, and that's how the word of mouth gets out there through that or other community events that we may attend, or even better, word of mouth from our membership. You gotta go see Chris. You gotta go see Glenn, and that's how this program has grown exponentially over the past 4.5 years.
Yeah. Even talking about the high schools, like Riz was saying, we do presentations at Fitchburg High School. Now, we built a relationship there. You know, we had a relationship with one of our, you know, ambassadors that connected us, and now we go in there on a month-to-month basis, and we do different presentations based off of what the students, you know, are looking for, what they want to learn about. And we get great, you know, great attention from them. A lot of great questions, good feedback. And now we're starting to do that in other schools and different towns around, you know, Worcester County.
What's an example of something that's important to the high schoolers?
The main thing is credit. Or like Riz said, trying to get rich fast, right? So how do you do that? How do I do that? And you know, a lot of them are juniors, seniors, so they want to know how to get an auto loan, how to, you know, purchase their first car, and savings, how to save money. So we talk about that with them. We'll do breakout sessions, so we'll go and sit with them in a small group to kind of make it more personable and have them open up to us, and we say, what do you guys want to learn about? Tell us, you know, we're not here to just speak, you know, to you guys and you guys fall asleep or you're fooling around. We want to make the best of this.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely are supportive of our community, not just Fitchburg, but all of surrounding communities that our branches are located.
Maybe some other examples of community support with Workers Credit Union.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're trenched in the communities, as Glenn highlighted. You know, we give back to the organizations, food banks. We participate in events. We just did, you know, we do financial literacy seminars. We did at Mount Wachusett College, right? We've done seminars there, financial literacy workshops. Fitchburg Housing Authority is another one we just got trenched into.
And like a wellness
we're gonna
opportunity?
So we're gonna have a lunch and learn with Fitchburg Housing Authority in the coming weeks. And we're gonna go to all their properties on a month-to-month basis and, you know, speak to all the residents there, even the senior living communities that are part of them. We're going to go in and we're going to tailor it to what they're looking for and how to help them with financial wellness.
That's fantastic. With the senior community, I see more instances of people taking advantage of our senior community financially.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it a lot in the banking world. I mean, you know, elderly abuse, right? That's the term we use when we're taking our compliance courses. So, you know, if we're the professionals, if we see it, we obviously report it forward. But those are key components. So when we're out in the communities, in the senior living centers, is to be able to help educate them as well, to protect themselves. You know, if they feel something is not right, to speak up, type of thing. So a lot of times they're, you know, they're scared or they're threatened to be able to not say a word and kind of just go along with it. Or sometimes, you know, they're at that stage where they're just, you know, can't keep anything in mind to understand like what is happening to them, right? So I think that end up coming with the elderly abuse component to it.
Yeah.
A wide range of situations with a wide range of diversity of people in all kinds of economic situations, ages,
Oh, yeah.
demographics, really everything.
Yeah, from like Chris said, from the beginning stages of opening an account to your golden years of retirement and everything in between.
Everything in between is all about the finances really run
worker's
the
way.
world.
The
So
worker's way, right
we all
there.
need it.
Yeah, and,
sure.
and you can always find us, even if it's not at a branch, you can find us at a workshop. You know, it's open to anyone in the community. For example, after the show, Glenn and I will be going over to the YMCA of Fitchburg, and we're going to be teaching a savings and budgeting course to the members, the employees, the parents of all the children that they go there. You know, and Glenn and I just popped in there one day when we were just going through cold calling, and we said, hey, you know, we're here to give back to the community and teach financial wellness. Are you guys interested? And what did they say, Glenn?
Oh, we've been waiting for this for so long. So yeah.
So if your organization is interested in getting one of these, you know, getting you guys to come in and do a group course, and then you could break out one-on-one with the different members, you can just go to the WCU.com.
Yep.
WCU.com, workerscreditunion.com,
Yep.
and click on the wellness coach, and you can reach out.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many avenues you can take, so many channels. I think word of mouth is huge as well, so what Glenn mentioned. But that is, you know, digital-wise, you can log in, make your appointment. We have Workers Way ambassadors out there as well as we're out in the community. So a lot of these folks, again, we're mobile. We have, you know, personal phone, cell phones as well.
We can come to you.
We can come to you at any given point, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we have about, you know, a minute left in the show. Is there anything we want to make sure that we cover, we let everybody know at home? Is there anything we missed?
Just come on out to Workers Credit Union and come speak to a financial wellness coach, and we'll help you out.
Yeah, take the first step. It's always the hardest, that first step. But once you get to know us and trust us, we certainly can make a difference in your financial world.
Right. I mean, and I'll top it off with, you know, don't be afraid to speak with somebody, right? Is that shame and stigma, and we take it out. We all have been through personal situations ourselves, so we take that component out of it and make you feel like a person.
Judgment-free zone.
Judgment-free zone. That's
Yes,
it.
You got it.
Exactly. And one other thing. Congratulations, Sam.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
congratulations.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Glenn. I appreciate that. All right, and thank you for watching at home. You can go to dfn-fatv.org if you'd like to see the future upcoming schedule for shows, or you can click the contact link if you'd like to join our show as well. And thank you to Workers Credit Union, our Workers Way financial coaches. Thank you so much for coming on and
Thank you for having
teaching
us.
us some more
Appreciate it.
about, you know, how we can write our financial lives.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And we'll see you next time.